Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second Moody Talk on sadness. So I chose sadness for the month of November because, it's coming up to the holiday season, and many people are feeling sad during this time. Maybe they're not with their families, or maybe they've lost someone and they're feeling that sadness of not being able to see them again. So that's why I chose sadness for November. And last week, we talked about descriptive words that we use when we talk about sadness and the intensity of each of the descriptive words. And the reason that's really important is that if you can put together the vocabulary that you use for the emotion, for sadness, then you'll be able to better understand how intense you are feeling the emotion. So I like to start out with that. We also talked about the feelings that we get in our body, the sensations, and also the reactions we may have to that specific feeling of sadness. So I highly suggest going back and putting together your own vocabulary of sadness and figuring out the intensity of the words that you use. So this week we're going to be talking about wise mind. We're going to be talking about distracting ourselves from sadness using a DBT coping skill that's called accepts. And I'll get into that in a moment. First, we got to talk about wise mind. So, wise mind in DBT is the middle path between reason mind and emotion mind. Okay. So, consider yourself like one side is very reasonable, facts only. That's what we're talking about, the facts only. Whereas on the other side, we're very emotional. We're all in our emotions without really thinking much about the situation without the emotion in it, right? So wise mind is walking that center path. It's balancing both the reasonable and the emotion mind, balancing cool and hot. You can look at it that way. So reason mind would be the cool head that people talk about, and emotion mind would be that hot head that we talk about. So we can use it in terms of cool and hot, and we can also talk about it being the left to right. So the left side of your brain is the reason mind, and the right side being your emotion mind. I think that's right. Anyway, so these are different ways that you can think about it. But walking wise mind, the middle path, is really important for us when we're working on our coping skills. So reasonable is facts, reason, logic, and task oriented, whereas emotion is mood, feeling, and urges. Okay, so I think that's really important. We look at it as, the reason mind is the logical, just the facts. Emotional side is the urges that we have. We all have emotion urges, right? Things that we will do based on the sadness or whatever emotion we're feeling, right? So finding that middle path is really important. And there's a lot of great ways that we can do that. We can use coping skills called like check the facts, where we are in an emotional state and we step away and take the emotion out of it so we can look at reasonable mind. We can look at just the facts of the situation and if the emotion that we're feeling actually fits that situation, right? There are a lot of great ways to do that. So when we're in wise mind, we are better able to understand the situation around us, what's happened. Maybe we're better able to understand the other people's side of things if we're in an argument or something like that, into an intense situation. Okay, so now we're going to talk about distracting. So distracting ourselves may be the only thing that we can really do in the moment. We all feel sadness, right? We all have those moments of sadness, and it can be really hard to be sitting in it. And it can make it worse when you sit in tough emotions like sadness. So sometimes we have to distract ourselves with kitties, right? We can distract with kitties or we can distract with these other things. So accepts is for DBT. It's using these different, so each letter equals a different, idea. Okay. So distracting with accepts while we get ourselves into wise mind is it's an acronym used as a coping skill. So A, activities. Okay, these can be physical activities, these can be mental activities. I mean, you can consider something like reading being physical or mental, right? But doing things that we like, maybe doing something intensely like exercise. Sometimes we need to get ourselves out of the feeling right away. So maybe we add intense exercise to that so that we're taking ourselves out of our minds and getting ourselves into our bodies and feeling something very different, right? So that's activities. What do you want to do? You want to go to a movie because you need to, get your mind off of this sadness. So go to a movie, read a book, listen to your favorite music. So that's activities. Second, C, contributions. So contributions is very interesting. Maybe you have a nonprofit that you've been thinking about getting in touch with, that you could maybe help them out with something. Maybe you want to start that, so you're going to choose contributions as a way to distract yourself by, calling up this nonprofit and saying, "What can I do to help?" Starting that. Or you have a ton of clothing that you need to donate and you haven't gotten together that any of that, and you need to. And so that's contributions as well. You're starting to put together the clothing that you want to bring to drop off for donation. So that's what contributions are. The next is one that I don't really like myself, but people can use this and it can be positive for them to use it. So it's comparisons. I tend not to get into comparing my situations against other people's situations because I don't think it helps so much in the end. We have a right to feel our sadness. We have a right to feel it because of a situation we're in. We can't deny ourselves our feelings because they're valid. But some people are okay with doing comparisons and it makes them feel better. At least I'm not unhoused. At least I have my health. At least, this person is going through this right now, which is way worse than I am. So you may be good with comparisons. And if you are, great, use them because they are a distraction. Okay. Then we go to E, emotions. Okay, so this means, getting yourself into a different spot, right? So you're feeling sadness. Well, what will counteract the sadness? Feeling like you're laughing. You're laughing at something, finding something funny, bringing humor into something like watching your favorite comedy show. Getting yourself into a different state of emotion. So if you're sad, doing something, feeling something different that is more positive. So that's emotions. And I know it sounds a little weird to say, okay, just distract yourself with a totally different emotion, but you can do this by watching a show that you think is really funny, and or you can listen to a podcast that you think is really funny. Things that are going to get you out of that mindset of sadness and into thinking about something different, something that makes you laugh. P, pushing away. So pushing away means you're going to push away the situation. If you're in a situation, you're going to push it away. You're not going to deal with it. You're going to step away from it and do something completely different. Okay, so pushing away a situation that you may be in, tabling something that may be causing you a lot of sadness can be really helpful. Just saying the words, "I'm not going to do this right now. I am going to step away from this in order for me to feel better right now because I am completely in emotion mind and I need to get to wise mind." So if I push this away and I concentrate on something different, maybe you have something for work that, I don't, honestly, I don't really tell people to go do work, but I actually do it all the time when I'm feeling upset, I find something that I can do in my work. Like I started a podcast. So, what else can I do for my podcast right now? Something that's positive, that's making me feel like I'm moving in a forward way and not backwards, which you can always feel very, like you're moving backwards when you're feeling such a heavy feeling of sadness, right? See, thoughts, changing your thoughts. So this one you may think is a little bit like comparisons, but changing your thought process on something, or just changing your idea of the situation, thinking about other things that could be involved in this situation that's causing you sadness. Um, Maybe there's a brighter side to this situation. Maybe something is happening that is more positive in this situation that you can pull out and say, okay, so out of all of this sadness, this positive thing came out of it. So that's something that you can think of when it comes to thoughts. And then sensations. This is a lot like activity, but sensations is changing your body temperature. Or, like I said, going for a run, doing really intense activity that causes your body chemistry to change. Okay, so one of the things that I tend to use when I need a distress tolerance is I have these uh, um, washcloths, okay? And I soak them in water and I make them into a ball and I put them in the freezer. And when I need to get myself out of my thoughts, I'll take out that frozen washcloth. And that washcloth is really tight and it's really cold. And I'll start to try to pull it apart. So pulling it apart is causing my hands to get cold. And I need strength to pull it apart and to tear it. And I have to think about how I need to pull this frozen washcloth. I know it sounds so simple, but it really works really well. So, changing your body chemistry, your body temp, changing what you're doing in your body in the moment can really be helpful when you need to get yourself out of an intense emotion, especially in sadness, right? We just need that one little, like pulling a thread out of doing something different with ourselves in order to get away from that intense sad feeling. Okay, so I hope this helps. I know that something like distraction sounds like it's cop out, like it's not a real coping skill, but it really is. It's important for us to be able to distract ourselves, to get ourselves out of a bad place. And I can't think of anything better than these different things that we can do. Contributions. Oh my goodness, all these clothes that I know I need to get together so I can donate. Let's do that, right? There's going to be a feeling in the background of you. I'm doing something good. So I'm excited to do that, right? Running in place, even, changing your body chemistry and changing the sensations, because that takes you out of your mind and you're thinking about what's going on in your body, right? So I hope this helps. We'll be back next week with another coping skill for sadness. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.